When you think about danger in a hospital, your mind probably jumps to some dramatic ER scene or a big surgical mistake, right? But what if one of the biggest risks is something way quieter, something that happens in plain sight? Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on this hidden danger and the pretty amazing system that was designed to stop it. So, what is it? What's this preventable danger that's lurking in the one place we all go to get well? It's a really critical question, and the answer has actually sparked a revolution in how we think about patient safety. And the answer, believe it or not, is this slow, almost invisible decline of a patient. We're talking about someone who on the surface seems stable, but their vital signs are quietly screaming that something is going very, very wrong. This is where the real fight for survival often kicks off, long before any big alarms start blaring. So to really get why the solution is so brilliant, we first have to get a handle on the problem itself. It actually has a name, and it's a pretty sobering one. It's called failure to rescue, and that name tells you everything you need to know. See, this isn't about a patient who couldn't be saved. This is about a patient who could have been saved, but the help just came too late. All the warning signs were there, but the system just failed to connect the dots in time. So how long can this instability go on for? This is going to shock you. Some studies found patients were showing clear signs of distress for up to 72 hours before they got moved to the ICU. I mean, think about that. That's 3 full days of their body waving giant red flags. And the result of that delay is just brutal. Patients who are transferred to the intensive care unit from a general ward, after that long, slow decline, they have the highest death rates in the hospital. Higher than people coming straight from the ER, higher than people coming from surgery. And it's not because they were sicker to begin with. It's because the care they needed was delayed. So where does it all go wrong? Well, it's like a chain reaction. It's almost never one single huge mistake. It's a series of small and honestly very human failures. A failure to record the vitals, sure. But then maybe a failure by a really busy nurse to recognize that one little change is actually a huge deal. Or a failure by a junior doctor who's maybe a little intimidated to report their concern up the chain of command. And then a failure to respond quickly and effectively. Just one broken link in that chain, and it can be the difference between life and death. But what if you could redesign the system? What if you could build a safety net to catch patients before they fall? This is where the solution comes in, and it's a real game changer for patient safety. This quote just nails the whole idea. Imagine taking all the expertise, all the urgency, all the life-saving skills you find in an ICU, and just stretching them out to cover the entire hospital. You're creating critical care without walls. For the longest time, hospitals had cardiac arrest teams, but they were totally reactive. They were the last resort you called after a patient's heart had already stopped. This new idea, the rapid response system, is the total opposite. It's proactive. It's a safety net designed to jump in before the crash ever has a chance to happen. So, how does this safety net actually work in practice? Well, it's not just about having a special team. It's a whole coordinated system that has 3 really distinct parts. I want you to think of it like a nervous system for the entire hospital. First, you've got the detectors, which doctors call the afferent limb. That just means it carries signals in, kind of like your nerves telling your brain something's hot. Then you have the responders, the efferent limb, which carries signals out to take action. And finally, you have the brains, the part that learns from every single event to make the whole system smarter. Let's break each one down. All right, pillar number 1 is all about detection. This is the afferent limb. You can think of it as the hospital's early warning system. Its whole job is to spot that physiological smoke that signals a fire might be starting, long before anyone actually sees the flames. So how does it do that? With something called an early warning score, or EWS. It's actually pretty clever. The system gives points for different vital signs. So a slightly off breathing rate might get you 1 point. A sudden drop in consciousness gets you 3. You add them all up, and when the total score hits a certain number, boom, it automatically triggers a response. It takes all the guesswork out of it and just answers the question, how sick is this patient right now? So once that trigger goes off, it activates pillar 2, the responders. This is the efferent limb, and you can basically think of them as the hospital's special forces. This expert team, sometimes called a medical emergency team, or MET, can be at the bedside in minutes. They bring ICU-level skills right to the patient, no matter where they are in the hospital. And finally, we have the brains of the whole operation, the administrative limb. This is what makes it a true learning system. It's constantly tracking data on every call, it's auditing the outcomes, and it's giving feedback to the entire hospital. It's always asking, did we get there fast enough? Are we actually preventing ICU admissions? It's what allows the hospital to get better and better at saving lives.
So, okay, that's the theory. You've got detectors, you've got responders, and you've got a brain. It sounds great on paper, but here's the billion-dollar question. Does it actually work? Does it save lives?
Well, the evidence from hospitals with mature, well-run systems is pretty overwhelming. We're talking fewer cardiac arrests on the general wards, fewer emergency trips to the ICU, patients getting to go home sooner, and, this is the big one, a drop in the overall hospital death rate.
And check this out. This chart shows something fascinating they call the Met dose effect. Researchers found this really clear relationship. The more a hospital uses its rapid response team, the higher the dose, the lower its rate of cardiac arrests. It's proof that the team is actively getting there and preventing the absolute worst-case scenario.
But here's the catch, and this is maybe the most important takeaway. It's not enough to just create a new team and give them a phone number. For this to really work, you have to change the entire culture of the hospital. You need a whole systems approach where every single person, from the nurses to the doctors to the staff, feels like they're part of that safety net.
This idea has already completely transformed hospital safety, but the story is far from over. The evolution is still happening. So let's take a quick look at what's just around the corner.
The future is all about making this system even smarter and way more inclusive. We're talking about wearable sensors that track vitals 24/7, completely wiping out that failure to record problem. We're looking at AI that can actually predict a patient is going to get sick before a human can even spot the signs. And maybe the most powerful shift of all? We're moving towards a future where patients and their families have a direct line to call for help themselves.
And this isn't some far-off sci-fi dream. It's already happening. You've got systems like Ryan's Rule down in Australia and Call for Concern in the UK. They actually empower families, the people who know the patient best, to pick up the phone and say, something is wrong here, and activate that emergency team themselves.
Which really brings us to the final thought here. The whole story of this system has been about moving from reactive care to proactive care. The future seems to be all about making patients and families active partners in their own safety. So the question to leave you with is this. Should you have the power to call that emergency team when you have that gut feeling that something is seriously wrong with someone you love in the hospital? It's a profound shift, and it all started by finally paying attention to the hospital's quietest, most hidden danger.